All right, joining us on Pirate Radio Live from D1 Baseball, Aaron Fitt, and you're saying, why are you talking baseball in November? Well, the baseball never stops. There's always something going on, and Aaron's covering it all at D1 Baseball. Aaron, how you doing, man?
I am doing great, ready to talk some ball. It's funny, it feels like it's the dead season now, but not for us, not at D1 baseball. We got fall reports are hopping right now.
It's awesome, man. I'm following your timeline in D1 Baseball. You really are giving updates and fall reports on everybody. So it's great to see that it is the one-stop shop for all things college baseball. Aaron, let me ask you this. So this is not me complaining as an ECU fan. This is me asking you as a lifelong baseball fan. My first pro sports love was the Braves, but unlike NFL and NBA, you really never hear announcers or anybody in baseball talk about where guys went to college. So the other night when the Blue Jays go from Savage to Hoffman, a common thought would be, these two guys played at the same university, but like there's no talk of that on the broadcast. There's no mention of ECU. And again, I get it because I've watched baseball my whole life. And, have you ever thought of like, could there be a better relationship from college to Major League Baseball where it is discussed more? Because it almost seems like two different sports at times.
Yeah, it's funny because, MLB has really made an effort to improve, I think, the relationship with college baseball and frankly, funnel more players into college baseball at high school. I mean, that's one of the reasons they slashed the draft and
Right.
slashed the number of affiliates they have is because Manfred has made it clear that they kind of believe in college baseball as the preferred method for developing players, and it saves them money on the development side and it saves them time. If you've got players who've been in school for 2 or 3 years, they're farther along, and it's easier to kind of project. There's less risk with those draft picks, and so you would think that there is a good relationship there, but I'm kind of with you watching these broadcasts, and we're talking about how many times we talk about how Trey Savage started the season in
Oh,
Dunedin,
I know.
and it's like, okay, yeah, but like, where was he a year ago? Like a year ago, this guy was like pitching, against Chase Burns and Nick Kurtz at East Carolina, coming off this collapsed lung, and nobody knew what the heck to expect. And he goes out there and throws what 7 1/3 innings of like one hit ball or some craziness. I mean, it's like that is like a legendary performance. It's not like this guy came out of nowhere. He's been performing at a high level at one of the elite programs in the country for 3 years before this. I mean, how does that not get mentioned on these broadcasts? I just think these guys aren't doing their jobs, frankly. I think it's just that simple.
Yeah, and I get it. A lot of guys come from high school. There, a lot of times there's a big gap between college and MLB debut, so it's different than NBA and NFL. But I would like to at least get a little more college mentions going on, and you make some good points there, Aaron. Look, for us, it was awesome to see Trey and Hoffman, and even what Gavin Williams did, and Alec Burleson and the Cardinals didn't make the playoffs, but he had a good year as well. But really cool to see the Pirates that Cliff Godwin has sprinkled into the pros now, and we're keeping up, Aaron. I just got off the chat with Josh Moylan, former Pirate first baseman. We talked to Carter Cunningham last week, so Carter Spivey keeping up with all these guys, and pretty incredible to see the amount of Pirates involved in pro baseball right now.
It really is. It's such a testament to this program, that they just keep on churning out these elite guys, and every year you look up and there's like a new batch of them, that have shown up. I mean, it's like we saw last year, Sean Jenkins rolls in. It's like I could see that guy in a few years being in the big leagues, and now this year you got the Weber kid, the true freshman. It's like that guy could be the next guy. He could be the next Savage. It's like every year they keep on bringing that next wave in, and then they develop them. And then how many times we've seen these guys get to pro ball and just thrive because they're ready for it. So it definitely is a testament to Cliff Godwin's program.
One reason I want to get you on, Aaron, is to talk about maybe who's next. And you mentioned Weber there. You saw ECU and App State play a little bit, and I know you keep up with what's going on this offseason. Got the Purple Gold World Series coming up for ECU. Who are some new faces that Pirate fans might be excited about a few months from now?
Yeah, and I'll start with that the one I just mentioned, Colby Weber. True freshman from Pennsylvania. And it's just an easy one to dream on. I mean, it's 6'6", maybe 6'7", kind of gangly, projectable. And he already throws. I mean, I saw him kind of 92, 94. I think there's more in there already, but there will be a lot more in there. I think as he continues to mature, because that arm works easy, just a whippy, loose arm action with a high slot, and it gets on you. And I saw Field to spin a real slider and a curveball, a slower curveball, and kind of keep him off balance, and change up as well. So a 4 pitch guy, and it sounds like they really like what they saw from him this fall. I know he didn't have a good outing at App. He got actually hit around some, but it's still one of those things where you walk away and it's like, oh, that's a real arm. I mean, like it's may not have had a good day, but like this guy is legit. So that one's very exciting. And I think there's a lot of freshmen that they like in this group. I mean, Grady Lenahan comes to mind as an outfielder that I think has a chance to start pretty early. He's a good runner. Got a little bit of sneaky juice there and kind of a compact 5'10" frame, and a chance to play center field or maybe a corner outfield spot. But that's another one in that freshman class that I think we probably need to keep a close eye on. So those are two younger ones that have my attention.
We're excited about the new faces, excited about the nucleus Cliff Godwin was able to retain here with Norby and Irby and
Yeah.
Colby Wallace and a lot of guys like that. And another thing, too, Aaron, we'll talk about some coaching changes around baseball in a moment, but just the stability of having Cliff Godwin, having Jeff Palumbo. I'm a huge Palumbo fan. I'm honestly surprised he hasn't gone elsewhere, maybe as a head coach at this point, but so happy to have him back, Austin Knight, and that's important, right, Aaron, to keep the top guys in place for another season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, having that kind of continuity, as an elite coaching staff, where you guys are going to be desirable because they have accomplished, track records, and it's really, I think, valuable to have that continuity. But they keep on, I think, improving as well. I mean, you bring in obviously like a Jake Gautreau. That's a pretty big name
Yeah.
addition to your coaching staff, who not so long ago was regarded as one of the top rising stars in the coaching profession, and had his share of success at Mississippi State, and I think he had a chance to be the head coach at Tulane at one point, which of course is his alma mater. Wound up staying where he was, but now he's at ECU, and that's another really nice piece here. And of course, you got your ECU former players, your Thomas Franciscos,
Yeah.
your Packards, that are around as well. And I think Jake Agnos is on the staff too, right?
Yep.
As a
Added
grad
him to the mix
assistant.
now. Yep.
So I mean, there's kind of like that whole ECU family thing that's just permeating throughout that program. You got to love that stuff.
Well, we did see some coaching news that really kind of sent shockwaves throughout college baseball with Tony Vitello going to the major leagues. And I was thinking, Aaron, like, man, I sure don't hear a story like that a lot. A guy jumping from, college baseball to the majors. And then did I hear this is the first time it's ever happened where a guy went right from college to the head spot in the dugout?
The first time it's ever happened for a guy who had never coached in pro ball.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, I think Dick Hauser was the last one, and he had been in pro ball previously before he was at Florida State, and then he went back to pro ball. So it's not quite the same thing, but
Yeah.
yeah, unprecedented, and we'll see how that plays out. It's for me, like I can't help but think of like it's different, obviously, but like North Carolina brings in Bill Belichick, this guy who's maybe the most successful NFL coach of all time, but had never coached a single day in college ball and not working out very well.
Yeah.
It's now granted that guy was 73 years old or whatever, and Tony's 47 and like still on the rise. There's some differences there, but like it is a different thing. I mean, it is just a different thing. You're dealing with different personality types, and I think it requires a different mindset in some ways. And it's just again, it's just a different set of challenges to negotiate. Now, Tony's a smart guy. I'm sure he can adapt, but he's going to have to adapt because I don't think he can do things the exact same way he did them in Tennessee.
Right. And Aaron, I'm ignorant to the whole situation. So some guys just leave because they want a challenge, or this maybe is his dream. But is there anything else to it? Like, were there, I don't know, issues at Tennessee or money, or is it just a guy who always wanted to be a big league manager?
I mean, he was getting paid pretty handsomely, so that I don't think that
Yeah.
was the thing. You hear some things about the relationship with him and the AD maybe deteriorating. I don't have any particular insight on that, but that certainly has, I think, been floated out there pretty publicly that maybe there's some cracks there. But yeah, also just a guy that has reached the top of his profession at the college level and maybe was just looking for the next challenge. So,
Yeah.
it definitely a provocative hire for Buster Posey and somebody who, hey, that guy, has deep ties and loyalty to college baseball. Buster does, and so it kind of makes sense that he would look back in this direction. But looking to make a little bit of a splash, and they definitely did that.
Aaron, I always ask Cliff during the off season. It's usually when we get closer to February, but are there any rule changes or anything different going on? And usually he gets annoyed at either the change that's made or the change he wanted that didn't happen. So I'm going to ask you instead of him. I think moving forward, but anything down the pike that could be changes in college baseball? Anything you know of?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the main talking points right now are just the roster limit, the what is it,
Yeah,
33-man roster limit with you got your um, DSAs and all this stuff that I'm not really that in the weeds on, frankly, all this stuff. But like, of course, the scholarship change is enormous. I mean, the fact that we can now actually, after years and years and years, decades of banging our heads against the wall about this 11.7 scholarship limit, now you can give out as many as you want to give out. I mean, it's pretty wild. It's a all of a sudden like this kind of holy grail for college baseball has been achieved, and it's no longer being hamstrung by the scholarship limit, and we'll see how that affects the sport. I mean, there's obviously haves and have nots, and there are schools that just have to make a choice where they want to invest. And I would imagine a baseball school like East Carolina will be all in on it. But that's going to be something that's going to be fun to watch, just to see how it affects the talent level in the sport and the parity in the sport.
yeah. I was going to ask you about that too, Aaron. That we've seen a lot of things over time where the rich get richer and all that. I've said for just this recent run in college football, as a fan of a team, maybe you don't like the NIL and the portal because you want to get used to consistency. But as an overall watcher, it makes college football fascinating week to week,
Mm.
game to game. It seems like there's more parity. And maybe the bigger schools are getting further away from the smaller schools. I don't know, but what changes do we see to baseball with the scholarships, Aaron? I mean, is it status quo? Does somebody take off and others get left behind? How do you think it turns out?
I think the ones that just plain can't afford to keep up
Yeah,
um, are going to get left behind. But I mean, I don't think we're going to see a situation where the SEC and ACC pull farther away from kind of that next group of programs because we have the roster limits. I mean, it's not like even if you can give 33 full scholarships out, you can't give more than that.
yeah,
There's only so many players that you can have on your roster, and if there's other great programs that also have a lot of scholarships, there's going to be a lot of talent to go around. I mean, I still think, the ECUs and the Coastals and the all the Big 12 and Big 10 programs, like there's going to be plenty of players around for all those. It's not going to be just the SEC gobbling everybody up. And so, yeah, I think that certainly the gap between LSU and maybe like a southeastern Louisiana or somebody like that, like it's going to be exacerbated for sure. But I mean, I think that kind of the Louisianas and the Southern Misses, that kind of the in between tier, they can still continue to compete. I really believe that,
yeah.
and so that's my opinion about the parity piece. But I also think just in general, we're going to see more talent in the sport, because we're going to be able to attract more players who might have been inclined to play football or basketball, because now you can still go and do pretty well playing baseball and then not have to pay your own way so much. So I think that's another major draw.
Aaron Fitt joining us. Aaron Fitt and the D1 crew, not just operating February to May, June. They are year round, pumping out some great fall reports right now. So make sure you are locked in on what's going on at D1 Baseball. Aaron, I think I've asked you this in the past, but for new viewers and for myself to to remember your previous response. So it's like a Tuesday night in November. Are you more likely to like throw on a college basketball game, a football game, catch up on Survivor, or I mean, is it just like all baseball for you? Like, what's
No.
what are you doing outside of college baseball, Aaron?
It's this time of year. It's kind of nice. The world is my oyster. It's we have, like I said, there's plenty on the work front. There's still plenty of writing to do, but
Yeah.
I mean, I won't have to go to another baseball game until the spring. So, there's a little bit of travel. We got a trip to Australia coming up in December.
Nice. All
Um,
right.
Catch up on some TV series maybe that I've been wanting to catch up on, and watch a little college basketball and some NFL. But yeah, I'm not going to go back and rewatch old tapes of baseball games just because it's November. I can take a little break here.
Good deal, Aaron. Always appreciate you joining us, man. We'll catch up with you when the calendar turns and preview the 2026 season. But thanks for the off season report, man.
My pleasure, my friend. Good to see you.